Let's watch this.
So the Switch 2 is out, and honestly,
Sorry. Alright, let's watch this one right now because I'm very curious
so
about
the
this.
Switch 2 is out, and
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I wish I could say I was excited. I really, really wanted to be excited. Like many 90s babies, I grew up on Nintendo. They were my very first gaming love. And not just the games,
Mm-hmm.
but the feeling of them. The wonder, the warmth, the way they pulled you into a world and made it feel like home. Ocarina of Time was the one that really awoke something in me.
I never played any of Nintendo games, but for the longest time, I've been always very excited for a Mario game because I do like Mario. I actually played the Mario game, the old one, on the Game Boy. Yes, I used to own actually a Game Boy actually back then, but that belongs to my sister, and she plays that a lot of time. I only got a chance to play that for like once or twice, to be honest with you. Can't really get a chance to play that game, but I remember playing Sonic. I remember playing Mario, and I also play like a couple of games like I guess I did try out the Final Fantasy. There was an older games, but like I never really actually understood the game. I was a kid back then, but I really do not care less. But I would say the most memorable for me would be the Mario games. It was really fun, but like I just really don't have a lot of things going around in my life back then, and I just play the game like and like just like a dumb idiot. I have the Game Boy, but only played games that is not from Nintendo, like Teen Titans, etc. I forgot Teen Titans. I actually had a game too. Oh God, that actually is
That
insane.
opening in Kokiri Forest with the Deku Tree riding Epona across Hyrule Field, it all felt so massive. Like a
I've
real
heard people
world was
actually
such a tiny little
loving Ocarina of
cartridge.
Time.
And then Majora's Mask came along, and my little self had never felt such anxiety. That eerie moon, the ticking clock, the emotional side quests that made you care so much in so little time. It was the very first game that made me feel something beyond just fun. It was sad, confusing, kind of strange at times, and
Hmm.
very deep. It wasn't just Zelda. I was obsessed with Super Mario 64, running wild through Peach's castle, jumping into paintings, discovering
The fact that people are still actually playing this game is crazy to this very day. And mostly the reason why this game is still alive is mostly of speedrunners. This game has so many things to exploit in speedrunning.
every secret star. That game felt like true freedom. And then there were classics like Kirby's Dream Land, Yoshi's Story, Donkey Kong
Damn!
64, Star Fox,
Damn!
Metroid Prime, all
I know I kind of know Star Fox actually. I've heard Metro Prime was actually really good as well.
completely different and wonderful in their
I
own
only know Metro Prime because of Samus Aran. That's it.
and every one of them had a vibe, a soul, that Nintendo spark that made it feel like you weren't just playing, you were being let in on something very special. And then my parents bought me the original DS, and just
Damn.
like that, the whole thing was cracked wide open for me. That's how I found Animal Crossing Wild World, and I was hooked. I spent hours in that
Huh?
little village, rearranging furniture, writing letters, fishing for red snappers, and
I never know. I never knew Animal Crossing was actually this old. Like it was so old. I never knew about that. I thought like Nintendo just created Animal Crossing like 2 to 3 years ago. I never knew about that. But then again, I never knew anything about Nintendo's history.
visiting my best friend's town
I
during
thought like
monthly
that like
sleepovers.
games that are
Even
like
now,
more
just hearing the
childish.
soundtrack makes me very emotional. It takes me right back to those quiet, cozy
I
afternoons
remember
after
wanting a Nintendo
school,
DS
all
to play
curled
Monster
up with
Hunter.
that crunchy
Oh God, I've also forgotten Nintendo DS actually does have a Monster Hunter game. What's the Monster Hunter? Excuse me. Excuse me. I do not think it's Monster Hunter GU nor is FU as well. Hmm. Was it Monster Hunter 2 or something?
silver DS with nowhere else that I needed to be. Truly the epitome of nostalgia. I didn't know it then, but those games were
Is that
helping to shape
Powerwell?
how I
Oh my
saw
God,
everything.
base that
Stories,
actually
characters,
showcasing
even
Powerwell.
myself. And for a while, it really felt like Nintendo understood how to make something that mattered. And it didn't stop there. I basically owned every major Nintendo console, starting with the
Damn.
N64, GameCube, Wii, DS, 3DS, even the Wii U, which in my humble opinion, was ahead of its time, by the way. But I owned all of them. And when the Switch was
I remember seeing Wii U. That looks actually pretty cool, actually. I have no complaint about this. This one does look very good, and it's a very similar reminiscence of like what has been being inspired to make a Steam Deck. We just gameplay with gamepads.
Announced with Breath of the Wild, I was beyond excited. Like, very cringely crying at the announcement
Aw.
trailer excited. As a Zelda fan, it was everything I'd ever wanted in a game,
That's
and
so
to this day, it is
cute!
still one of my favorites. That launch brought back so much of the old magic, which is probably why I held on for so long and I even wanted to work for them. Like, genuinely. I applied to corporate Nintendo PR jobs probably 15 to 20 times. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not even exaggerating. Back in 2019, I was pursuing PR, and when I got the opportunity to go to E3 that year, the very last E3, by the way, I actually spoke with an
Oh, bro. The fact that E3 actually cancel hi, oh hi there Toofy, what are you doing with a like you little fella? Paolo Nintendo disregarded a successful child that has to fund their favorite child Pokemon, even though they get that child their child is literally being spoiled so badly and they can't even make a good game. I will have to say that. I really don't get it why Power has to get sued from Nintendo just because of the fact that you have to throw Pokeballs. And then actually the fact they won about it, I do not understand why. That's sad. It's very sad. It's very sad because like you have this corporate greed that are really, really trying to get keep their own entertainment, which it's not a good thing because like at the same time because like you're making other people trying to actually turn away for the corporate and then like they have a really bad feeling for the corporate. You don't have a good eyeing for these people. That's the thing what I'm trying to say. And they're you're looking like a devil. But people tend to actually just still don't care and still buy Nintendo Switch 2 to this very day. Yeah, you have people who love Pokemon. Exactly. And made fan games. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. They could only do that because it's in Japan where the law favors the big guys. That is also true as well. Wait, is Power Team from Japan as well? It's sad as well because like Tuffy, you have to remember, you have to think about this as well. If the fan games decide to actually like make games that are better than the original and the predecessor, and they make money of it, Nintendo just say like, no, 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 that money is for us now because you stole our ideas. From what I've heard, yes, they are from Japan. Oh shit. Power Studio origin. Oh my god, they are actually in Japan! Shinagawa, Tokyo! Oh, it makes a lot more sense now. Why would they get actually sued by their own in the same country? Okay. Damn. That sucks. I do not know if this is gonna change if the company is actually from a different country or not. But yeah, you have a point. Japan laws tend to actually make a big favor, make a huge amount of favor for the big guys. And Power can't actually fight against Nintendo in that kind of in that kind of situation. That is unfortunate. That is so sad. You hate to see that. And what's even funnier is the fact that Pokemon games do not actually get better. They're just getting worse. I will stand on ground and say like Pokemon games nowadays are just not that fun. They're not fun in their own ways, to be honest with you. I think the older Pokemon games are really fun, but it's worse than ever. I agree, it's worse than ever, and because like, you don't feel the passion of like them making a new game. And honestly, I kind of don't blame them as well because like they keep making games like Pokemon for like how many years already? Like was it like more than 30 years already or like 20 years already? At the very least, I'm pretty sure they're gonna actually have a burnout from the title. Same goes to Mario. I feel like Mario, one way or another, is gonna get burnt out. And Donkey Kong is making a huge comeback though, which is very nice. I do have to say that. But Mario, I can see like Mario would actually get really burnt out, people who actually make the games for that. But I think the reason why Mario is not really burnt out at the moment is just that because Mario is being put out in every different games, not only like games like Mario, Super Mario 64. But if that make any sense, I don't know. But we gotta move on because like we're talking about E3 here. This is a very very old event. there are not enough Luigi games. I agree, actually. There are just not enough Luigi games. The only Luigi games that I know of is the Haunted Mansion, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's a game like where you actually play in a haunted mansion and you fight against a ghost, right? The Luigi games. Those games are I've heard were really good. It looks very fun, but it just but they're just not enough. Like I would have loved to actually have a game about Wario, or like the Bowser, or maybe some kind of a Princess Peach video game. You know, that would be very nice. I'm just saying. Like I don't like Car is nice and the Super Mario Family Party is nice, but like, what about make a single player game where like make Princess Peach and also Wario expand the stories of those characters, make it more unique, but and don't make the game as $80. I think we're all going away from the main point of the conversation, but I just want to say that like Nintendo tend to be a little bit arrogant sometimes with their own games. They are gatekeeping it and also arrogant about it.
Nintendo PR team in person. It was magical. The Nintendo section of the
Oh god, not the Modern Warfare 2019.
event was so overwhelming and electric, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is what I want. This is what I want to be a part of. So
It's been I feel so sad because E3 I've heard so much of E3 for like a very long time now. It was a game event that I think I actually when I was a teenager that I kind of want to go there in the future when I have enough money. But then they gotta cancel it, and then like they plan to come back in the next 2 years or 3 years. It's probably because like you have this bigger publishers that are actually more. They can actually do their own studios now, do their own events now, which is kind of sad. But hey, can't do anything about it.
please hear me out. What we are about to discuss isn't coming from someone who's out to bash Nintendo. This is coming from someone who genuinely, wholeheartedly, even at times very cringely, loved Nintendo.
And I don't hate that. Like, if you love Nintendo games, it's okay. Really. It's just that, like, you cannot argue the fact that the games of from Nintendo are kinda a little bit weird at sometimes. You know, just saying. With the pricing and the game quality, and then, like, with the consoles and the exclusivity, it's just weird.
And their games, and really believed in what I thought they stood for. But over time, I've started to realize that maybe Nintendo isn't the
Excuse me.
company I thought they were. What I've seen over the last few years is that my nostalgia goggles have been working overtime, and they've kept me from really seeing the true nature of a company that I once held so dear to my heart. So,
See, I want to talk more about it, but there's a couple of things I actually just thought about it, but I'll talk about it in a minute later.
let's dive in.
Yeah.
And let's start with the release of the Switch 2. It's officially out now, and sales are booming. Records are being broken.
Literally got
and
sold
over
out.
3 million units were sold worldwide on release day. People are also loving Mario Kart World, and I'm genuinely very happy for them. Yes, the game looks like a lot of fun. I just wish I felt something, because more than anything, I just feel tired. At $450 or $500 if you get it bundled with Mario Kart World, this doesn't feel like a celebration of the next chapter.
I
It
agree.
feels like Nintendo seeing how far they can stretch our loyalty, how much they can charge us for something that isn't even new, just a little bit newer. And listen, I'm not here to crap on Mario Kart. I actually really like Mario Kart. I do. It's
Here's the thing: if you're making another game for like a console exclusive, at the very least make the game price accessible for everyone, so that everyone can actually buy the game. Don't price it and just limit to some amount of people. Make it accessible for everyone else to actually play the game, because you have people who are willing to pay $450 on your console. Literally, and you have to actually put $80 for a Mario Kart, which is very idiocracy in my opinion, because you have games that are actually generally look so much better and has much more content than this, that only sells like around $40, $50. Like games that we have racing like Forza, and like don't get me wrong, Sonic Racing looks very much more better than Mario Kart in my opinion. It's probably because they have Hatsune Miku and Ichiban and also Joker. The amount of characters they can put into Sonic Racing is very huge. You know what I think, Shake? What's up? What do you think? Which also, I think I should get some ice for my fucking finger. Because like there's a bump here. What do you think? Go on. I'm gonna actually grab some ice. Be right back. All right, I'm waiting. Nintendo is stuck in their old mindset of Japanese folks where they value loyalty more than quality. Look at their working culture. Ah, so technically you're trying to say there are boomers now. Like Nintendo, the hits of Nintendo are actually boomers now. Is that what you're trying to say? Honestly, I can see that as a problem. I can see that that could actually be true. Because like you have to understand, like Japanese people tend to be very stubborn in their own ways, and same goes to the elderly. If I'm not mistaken, there is a stereotype literally saying this kind of stuff, but I think it's true in some capacity because like it's not only for Japanese people. It's like kind of like a normal thing for like the people who are older than us tend to be just a little bit arrogant and a little bit forgetful for other people, inconsiderate, I would say. And Japanese work culture is tend to be like that as well. Yeah, I can see what you mean now. That could be yeah. I see what I see what you mean. And you know what? I think Japanese company are like the kings of capitalism. They're like very high on capitalism because they know how to actually capitalize out of you. Like look at Capcom. Capcom actually sells you literally every little things that you can actually buy where you can actually just grind in game. But they say like, hey, if you don't want to waste so much time, just buy this. Actually, like no, Dragon's Dogma 2, where like you're supposed to actually grind these stones, where like you can actually teleport or make a checkpoint out of it. They say like, no, you don't need to actually grind or actually search in game. Just buy this, and then you'll actually be able to access it. You know, if you buy a little bit extra. Capcom, you massacre my boy. Not that emote, bro. I love that emote. Wait, I kind of want to actually have an emote of like that of myself. I kind of love that. I kind of like that. Oh god. But yeah, Capcom is like that as well. Don't get me wrong. I think Sega is as well is like that as well, and like From Software is kind of like that as well. But the only difference some of these companies are is the fact that they tend to be like they stick to their own route, they stick to their own route, and they try to adapt to what they can actually in game and make the game as good as possible and interesting. They're different because they make games like Sega make Yakuza games that are much more expanded for people to actually get into the story and the gameplay wise. And then like you have From Software making Elder Ring and also go actually experiment with their own little mini games. I, Fine, I'll say Capcom as well because Capcom actually do make great games as well. Well, with like Resident Evils and something like that. What other Japanese company that we can talk about? But like, you know what I mean, right? They make good games and make it interesting one after another, and still to the like they can increase the price, but the price is kind of adjustable to it. Well, Nintendo, they just literally jumped $30 from the original price of the game, and then just say like, yeah, we're still making the same thing, but you guys are willing to pay extra more, right? Because like they're releasing a new console, which is nuts to me. But I think we're going off for a very long time here. We should really continue the video. True, which is why Nintendo received the most shit because they haven't innovated. I agree. They didn't really innovate much going around. Except for Donkey Kong. The new Donkey Kong game really does look very good. I have to say that. But it's just exclusive, bro. And the Dust Blood? Bro, that's not even them making the game. It's literally them making contract with From Software.
One of those comfort games that's always been there and it's attached to so many fond memories of playing with friends and family. But even though it looks fun, when that's the flagship title for a brand new console launch, I don't know, I personally just couldn't get behind the hype. It feels kind of boring, safe, predictable. Nintendo isn't asking, hey, what's possible here? They're asking, what can we get away with? Because
Yeah,
$80
that's
for
what it
Mario
feels like.
Kart World, that's not just a new number. It's a shift in how this industry treats its players. And what's
Mind you, what's even crazy is the fact that if you the original price of the console is $450, but you can actually just buy an extra $50 with a bundle of console and also with the Mario Kart World. What that means is that you are paying $50 for the game together with the console. Why can't you just sell $50 for the game? Because like that means that you're paying $30 lesser than the original price of the game. And that alone really is a very huge shift and very weird mechanic. Like it's a very weird dynamic, you know? Like usually when it comes to like bundles, you only see like $10 off, $20 off, really at most, but $30 off? It's a little bit off. It's a little bit iffy, I would have to say that at the very least. Like you know what I'm saying? Like $30 lesser than than buying the game alone. If you buy the console and also the game separately, which is weird. It's just weird, you know. I can't get my head around it. $30, man. Freaking dollars, bro.
surprises me, even though it shouldn't at this point, is that it's Nintendo, of all companies, ushering in this new pricing standard. This wasn't them reluctantly following a trend that I know was inevitable, but this was them leading the charge, setting a
It's crazy because like all of this happened is because of GTA 6 trend going around. People keep going rumors with like that oh, GTA 6 is making $1 billion, and they're probably gonna make a $100 bill. That's crazy. The fact that that is the problem. That was the cause of it. In Malaysia, there'll be no bundle discount because the vendors will mark up the price. That is also a thing as well. Scalpers tend to actually be a bitch. And you know what? It's not my first rodeo whenever I had to actually see that. Look at the graphic cards.
precedent, establishing $80 as the new normal, and not with some expansive, genre pushing new experience, but with an exact game formula that we've literally seen 16 times at this point. And it makes you ask, why? Because
Do you guys remember that with the previous video that we watched about why Nintendo games are so expensive? And then they literally tell you the fact that why they're so expensive is because the amount of replayability for each Nintendo games are actually great. And then that one idiot literally just said like, what kind of game that are willing to actually give you 60 hours of playtime, but with the price of $80? There's no other games like that. Tell him. I clearly, I cheat you not. I can give you 10 games that can give you more than 100 hours with the cost of lesser than $80. Hell, lesser than $60. Hell, lesser than $50. I shouted Elden Ring. Of course Elden Ring is there. I will literally say that on my lung. Elden Ring will be the pinnacle of games of all games in my book of making a perfect game. Nothing else can tell me that otherwise because I will shut it off and tell you I will go into the argument telling you why it's good. Sometimes I will also tell you why Elden Ring can be bad as well. But I love the game. I'm not a From Software fanboy. Well, guess what? I love From Software. And there's nothing ashamed about that at all because they make good games and very innovative games. Elden Ring is one of them. But if you don't want me to talk about Elden Ring, that's cool as well. I can literally tell you The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, even with all the bugs, their bugs are much more funnier than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And I will sit on the hill and shout at that on top of my lungs. I will say that. I will admit that. Cyberpunk 27, The Witcher 3, what other games actually have my brain? Resident Evil 4 has really good replayability. The fact that the game is actually a single player game. Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2 actually have really good replayability because their New Game Plus are very good. Sekiro, Armor Core 6, and I know I'm naming all of the games from Software. Their games are better, and okay. I'm thinking. I think I'm actually going around for way too long. I am giving you way too much personal problems. But like, like the point is that like there is a lot more games that are willing to actually give you or like let you have the time to actually settle in under the price of $80. Literally, there's even indie companies that are better at making you stay for 100 hours or 60 hours. 60 hours is so easy for them to make you stay there, bro. Literally. The only problem is that like how are they going to make to 100 hours of playtime? That's it. Hollow Knight is like I like Hollow Knight is like the cost of $10 and I have like 100 hours into that game. It ain't a shake stream if you're not yapping for an hour minimum before gaming. I have hated the fact that that's actually a norm at this point, but yes, at this point, it is a norm. I do apologize. So I'm gonna play the video right now. Don't call me out.
Meanwhile, I'm
And Tufi
looking at
is right for
games
calling out
like
Elder Ring.
Helldivers 2, Hi-Fi Rush.
Ah, exactly. Helldivers 2 is another prime game that I can actually put that as a pinnacle of all games because the game marketing of that is very good for a live service game. I'm very impressed by Helldivers 2.
Because meanwhile, I'm looking at games like Helldivers 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies
Exactly.
of P, Remnant
Yeah.
2, Clair Obscur, Baldur's Gate 3,
Yeah.
and so many more.
I forgot. I feel an idiot for not calling up Baldur's Gate 3, but the only reason why I didn't call up Baldur's Gate 3 is because I never played the game yet. But Hi-Fi Rush, base for calling it out. The people need to talk more about Hi-Fi Rush because the game is very, very good. Despite the game is actually looking like a very double A game, and the game was supposed to be failure. It kind of is, but at the same time, people love it. People love the game. And Lies of P is a little bit pricey side, but I wouldn't mind playing that game because the lore and the replayability of the game is very fun. The boss are fun to fight against.
Games that have real creative vision, some with
Exactly.
massive campaigns, even some with fleshed out co op systems, launching at or below
Bro,
$60.
split
And
fiction.
many of these games are taking risks and really pushing boundaries.
Is that even before Split Fiction, It Takes Two, A Way Out? Those games are actually phenomenal for that price. Puzzle Tree has so many routes. Each playthrough is like a Rubik's Cube where you can jumble up and end up with a different pattern every time. And that's why the game, it's not only 100 hours that you can put into. The game can literally lead you to a 500 hours of playtime. And you know what? I am scared of playing the game because I will probably get stuck to it for a very, very long time. That's my biggest fear of Baldur's Gate 3. And I will play the game eventually. It's just that like I will probably be stuck into it for a very long time. All right, let's actually move on. Sorry about
And
that.
somehow they're still finding a way to be more accessible. So when Nintendo drops a new console and leads with yet another Mario Kart at a higher price than ever before, it doesn't feel like they're honoring their legacy. It feels like they're monetizing it, like they're using it against us. Actually, kind of feels like a slap in the face that
That's what it feels like. Yeah, I can agree with her on that.
stings pretty badly. And yes, to be
That's Genshin Switch. I don't remember that. What happened to that?
fair, the Switch 2 is a technical upgrade. 4K visuals, better battery, smoother performance, more storage, it's all technically better on paper. But it doesn't feel like a new
Agree.
era. It seems like a slightly fancier version of something that we already had. And for me personally, this realization of who Nintendo is not like a sudden moment of awakening. I've quietly been stepping back from them for a while now. And not because I stopped loving their games, but because I started seeing the patterns, the choices, and the shifts. And at this point, it's pretty clear that this Switch 2 release is not just about a new price tag or a genuine attempt at launching something new, it's just another step in the same pattern that's been repeating for years. Back in the day, this used to be the company that took risks, that made magic, that redefined entire genres.
This dude, this is the creator of Mario, right? If I'm not mistaken. It didn't happen. That was a few years old. Really? I never knew. What the fuck? What the frick? And this look at his smile, man. Like this is the guy I see every time I see him. He looks like a genuine guy who literally makes wants to make a really fun game, and I feel bad for him. Because like it feels like he's not really involved with the marketing and also the lawsuit going around, and he doesn't seem to care about it. Because in the end of the day, he just wants to make a game and just fun. But I think like most people in the company were probably just leeching out whatever they can with the games, and he wasn't really actually looking at it properly, or maybe he just doesn't care. Or maybe he is actually a part of it. I don't know. I can't tell anymore because I can't believe that we actually do this, which is nuts.
and invited us into something truly special. But now, kind of just seems like they're relying on the fact that we'll show up no matter what, even though they are
Yeah.
so often very anti consumer. It's because they know our nostalgia runs incredibly deep, and the more I've seen it, the harder it has been to unsee. Nintendo
It's they are the one who actually went into a nostalgia marketing instead of going to innovative. They actually just use nostalgia as a bait for you to actually buy the game. That tends to happen way too many times, and there it will work for a while, but then like literally later on, people are not that dumb. Let's be real. People are not that dumb. They know what the hell Nintendo are doing. There are people are actually buying the game even though they're saying they don't want to buy it, but eventually things will happen. I just want to actually say right now, Nintendo will actually have something will happen to them, and I will like just say it. I will feel bad because they have years to change it. Literally. I'm just making a stupid prediction, but I just hope it doesn't actually. I would love to be wrong. Literally. But this is a thing when it comes to like a company they are using nostalgia as a bait, which is not very good. Like Donkey Kong is looking very innovative. I've seen that gameplay. It's very nice. Which I can see like the games that are doing are like they're trying to make an innovation here left and right, but they're still using the nostalgia to actually pull you in, you know? But right now,
has mastered something
so
I
hard.
can only describe as weaponized nostalgia. They've
Yeah.
turned our childhood memories into a soulless business model. And the part that really hurts is that it works. It worked on me for so long. I've been the Nintendo fangirl who's bought
Not for me though. Well, because it's actually kind of obvious because I do not grow up with Nintendo. I did grow up with Mario. I like Mario, but I never really actually get into Mario, and I will always appreciate that because like I never really like to spend that much money for a game, and just for a console exclusivity. I prefer to go just stick with PC.
the remakes, re releases, and updated ports, even though I knew deep down that what they were offering was not anything new. And looking back
Mm-hmm.
on it, I don't know. I guess it was because I didn't feel like I was buying a game. It felt like I was buying a memory. And Nintendo knows that. They know that we remember how it felt to blast through Alien Worlds and Metroid Prime, or how it felt to spend hours raising your perfect Nintendog like it was your actual childhood
What?
pet. They know we feel these titles in a
That's
way
a
that
game
goes
like
beyond
that?
gameplay. And they have perfected the art of re-releasing titles, sometimes only mildly updated, at full price, locking legacy content behind paywalls and subscriptions,
Yes,
and offering
seriously?
nostalgia
Damn,
not as a
I
gift,
never
but
knew.
as a heartless
They have a
transaction.
dog
And
game?
just a quick side note that I found out while I was writing out this video. Do you want to talk about Heartless? Because I just found out that Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
actually replaced the voice actress for Princess Peach after 18 years. And they didn't even tell her. She found
Wait, what? How can you not do that? How can you not actually tell her the fact that she's getting replaced? So wait, so you're telling me a voice actor for a character that has been going around for 18 years for a company and they never show her as saying like goodbye or any celebration or anything at all, any memories that are memorable or like something that can actually appreciate the voice actress at all? They didn't do anything? No goodbye or whatsoever? No note, no memo? And then just like she just found out the fact that she got replaced? What? That is beyond heartless. Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. The fact that this company actually will actually burn to the ground. I don't feel bad anymore. Actually, I lied. Bro, that heartless. I agree. I do not blame the actress here if she actually go crazy and being mad about it. 18 years you've been working for the company, and then you just like, whoop, you're gone. Like I don't know who she is, unless like she got actually herself involved with some kind of drama. But for now, this is a very unfair treatment. Very unfair. This is very bad because it's so weird for a company that's supposed to actually like very education and be considerate about other people's feelings. This is very ignorant of them to actually do so. That's crazy. But guess what? They can just do that. They literally just can do that because they don't care. They just want to make money. What the But at very least, if you want to make a business out of with everyone, don't you think you should actually at least have a good connection and appreciate the people who actually work with you? Isn't that much more healthy a business model that you can actually have? This is a very shitty way of doing it. I don't know. I can't believe this. What the fuck?
Found out with the rest of the world when the new Mario Kart game came out. Like, that's actually insane. But anyway, to get back on track, there's always been a huge difference between celebrating fan love and exploiting it. And for me, it seems like Nintendo has lived long enough to finally see themselves become the villain. So moving on from the Switch
No, because defaming is against the law in Japan. That is also true as well. That is very true, actually. That is very true. Also, give me a sec. I think I make a mistake. Uh-oh. I make a mess. Apparently the gel actually broke. Oh god. Sorry. The gel actually broke. There's gelatin. I thought it was ice at first. Never mind. It was not ice. I was so that wrong. Oh god. Oh god. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Oh god. And from the void, I came back. I am back, you son of bitches. Do you miss me? I bet you do. Moving on, let us all continue. We.
At some point, I started looking at how Nintendo treats the people who love their games. And what I
Mm-hmm.
found honestly broke my heart a little bit because Nintendo doesn't
What do you
just
mean?
protect its legacy, they police it. Let's start with content creators. This is nothing
This is oh, nine coins relocked relocked content 39 times. Nintendo invited lawyers to Smash 34 times. This is damn. Sued by Nintendo.com. That's a wait. There's a thing like that. Hold on. Damn. What? Does a guy actually collected everything here? Yo! Wait, what was the latest one? January, Nintendo attempted and lost a trademark battle against a Costa Rican supermarket. Wait, so there's a supermarket store Super Mario for trademark infringement, and Nintendo has lost the trademark battle, and the supermarket gets to keep the name Super Mario. Okay, that's a W. Nintendo files a lawsuit against Pocket Pair. But Nintendo has filed a lawsuit against Pocket Pair, a developer of Palworld, alleging a patent infringement related to game mechanics similar to those in Pokemon games. Okay, yeah, this is the one that is actually like very like spark up the thing going around between Power and also Nintendo, where actually they lost this one. Yo, man, lurking while it's working. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling key. I'm just watching a couple of video about Nintendo because I hate Nintendo in my life. But for now, let's actually move on from this. That's a lot. It's true. It is a lot. Damn. Okay, let's actually moving on.
Nothing new. For many years now, Nintendo has been going after them. Streamers, YouTubers, musicians, for doing what, honestly, most other gaming companies celebrate, sharing their love for the brand and its IP. Somehow,
Bro, if this woman live in Japan, she will actually get sued for this because she's defaming Nintendo. Damn. Now I'm just thinking there could be a chance when Nintendo is trying to actually go around other people's content and just say like, hey, this video is not permitted. Switch one is less money I've given those rats. Damn, really? Damn, better not. I would recommend people to actually buy Nintendo Switch 2, bro. I really do.
I managed to kind of turn a blind eye to most of this until the Point Crow situation. He was a YouTuber
Wait, what? Who's this? Nintendo is taking down my videos? What? They are taking down his videos? Yeah, I'm not buying a Switch 2. Massive RIP. I think it is a massive waste of money with the games lineup going around. This is not worth $450. It's not. I would agree with you in this.
who was making these really incredible Breath of the Wild mod videos. Fun, creative, and
Oh no! Oh, sorry. Oh no! So it makes videos Breath of the Wild with mods. No, that's not a good sign. They don't permit the mods for this. Not even mods are safe. Damn. Damn. That breaks my heart. They don't really care. Nintendo did this years ago to copyright strike people who made videos about their games. Well, good thing we are talking about their console. Haha.
totally original. And then one day, Nintendo claimed and struck 27 videos. No warning, no conversation, just straight up attacked. And it wasn't just his Breath of the Wild mods.
You know what's funny is the fact that I think I will be attacked, but like at the same time, there's no point of them attacking me because like, I don't make money out of it, and there's not a lot of people actually watching these videos. I think the only reason why Nintendo actually attack people is because it's spiraling around, and the damage control are actually cannot be apprehended. So they're actually taking the damage control into their hands, and then they try not to actually destroy the brand that I have, which is kind of normal thing to have with the big companies here. They tends to actually pay people so that they actually are not allowed to actually show this to off many more people. But at the same time, it's crazy the fact they have been doing this for a very very long time. I think people are free to actually criticize other people's company because at least show off the evidence. That would be very good as well. Because like if they are talking about something and not showing off any evidence, I think that would be a very quite a thing as well to actually talk about. But this is a thing that like people. This is about a guy making mods for the game, where the game are going to be much more playable and replayable for the Nintendo games. Why wouldn't I not let that happen? That's dumb. Why? Why? I think let me bring up an old game that is still relevant to this very day. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 are still a very huge relevant game because of mods, and that game is still will be always be one of the top zombie multiplayer games that you can actually play to this very day. With even the mods can actually make things very very exciting and funny. All right, I will stand by that. Literally, made the games much more better, but this is just ridiculously stupid. What?
It was any content that featured them, including other creators who had collaborated with him. It all got
Uh-huh.
wiped out like a
Damn.
and it made me pause because these weren't leaks and they weren't made to be malicious. It really was just fan content that was made out of love. And Nintendo really cracked down on it like it was a threat. And this was not an isolated case. One that has really stuck with me was Gilva Sunner. And if you didn't know,
Who's
Gilva
this?
Sunner's channel used to be one of the only places online where you could find full Nintendo soundtracks. For years,
No!
Nintendo basically had these locked up very tight unless you were able to purchase a physical CD from Nintendo themselves. They weren't on Spotify, Apple Music, Nintendo's YouTube channel, no official platform to listen to any of it. And Gilva wasn't even trying to profit from this. There were no ads or monetization, just the original music uploaded for fans who wanted to relive the moments those songs came from. It was really a gift to the community.
It's nice as well. I would have to say, music from Nintendo are actually phenomenal and beautiful. There are so many music from Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda. The older Legend of Zelda games are very good. Mario 64 are actually iconic in their own ways. I think this is a very good way to actually make the fans to actually relive those moments very easily. Which is crazy, the fact that they're actually... Damn! 16.3k likes? Damn! That's a lot of people!
Then it was gone. Nintendo initially sent over 1,300 takedown notices, and after that, it was followed by another
1,300! Oh wait, I just realized what he said! Hi everyone, after 1,300 copyrights blocked from Nintendo a few days ago, the YouTube channel received another 2,200 blocks today, with likely many more to follow. After thinking about this a lot over the past few days, I've decided that at this point, it's really not worth it to keep the channel up any longer, and will therefore delete the Gilva Sunner YouTube channel, or what's left of it, this coming Friday. Damn, that is sad. That is saddening to actually know. What? What's this? Okay, I'll tell you something about it. So this is we're talking about Nintendo Switch, all right? Nintendo, the company itself, for actually making Nintendo Switch to you, and with the abysmal of prices, where there actually feels like they're not making a game for the players, they're actually making profits out of you. So fuck Nintendo. Oh shit, what the fuck? That was actually wow. That was actually very easy to actually convince you. Damn, that didn't took a long time to actually convince you to decide. Holy crap. Honestly, so right now we're in the topic of like this Gilva Sonner guy. This is the guy who actually spent his time, uploading some of the Nintendo soundtracks on YouTube channel, and he didn't even actually take any profit out of it. Never didn't make money out of it. Never actually do anything for. He's just doing it for fun, literally. He actually did this for fun, literally, and now he actually got copyrighted for over 2,200 blocks, and to the point that he deleted the channel because it's actually too much. No, I've hated Nintendo for many years. Nintendo has a legal slave. Look up Gary Browser. I'll check it out in a minute. Let me finish watching this video.
2,200. The entire channel was essentially wiped out and Gilva closed up shop. And I know this might sound a little bit dramatic, but that was kind of a big turning point for me when it came to how I viewed them. Just a little side note / confession, but as a former Disney adult who has learned the error of her ways, I feel pretty qualified to say this. Nintendo really is the Disney of gaming. They're wholesome on the surface.
Oh, true! They are truly the Disney of gaming. Facts. That is so true. Oh my god. Disney and Nintendo, they both are just money making machine with no innovation or no vision at all of making good entertainment. And that will be the end of the line of the quote there. Literally. That is insanely true. So true. And you know what's sadder is the fact that we give them the power. They were good, and then they decided to decided to turn over the leaf onto the bad side. Bro, I kid you not, I was so mad how Disney was actually the same company who literally owns Star Wars and destroyed the franchise. Only Star Wars Endor has actually still really make me feel like I have actually faith in Star Wars. But now I'm sad the fact that that is actually happening way too much nowadays. That is so true. Let's actually
Very full
continue.
of magic and memories, but underneath, there's a very quiet, corporate, malicious control. And both companies know how to tug at your childhood heartstrings while handing out copyright strikes and ulterior motives on the side. At the time I was watching this
Yeah.
unfold, the more I sat with what happened to Gilva Center, the more it made me wonder, why is Nintendo's music so locked away to begin with? These soundtracks have some of the most iconic songs in gaming. They were emotional, timeless, and they were very deeply personal for so many of us. And like I said earlier, Animal Crossing Wild World was my comfort game. And yet, at the time, there was basically no way for me to go listen to it legally. It felt like Nintendo had locked away their history in a vault, and they just would not let anyone open it up. And from there, I started noticing so many other examples. Fan games getting shut down, community
Mm-hmm.
passion projects being wiped out, and listen, I get it. IP protection is legally within their right, but it
Mm-hmm.
all just felt like they were going out of their way to crack down on this, acting very aggressive, cold, and even heartless.
Mind you, like don't get me wrong, I totally stand by the emulators, not the stand by emulators of like if you want to actually play emulator games, you at very least have to own a copy of the game. That's also good as well. But like I think the emulators are like the fact that like people actually wanting to play Nintendo, but they just couldn't afford to buy Nintendo Switch, and then like they were so happy to actually play Nintendo games on PC, but then like they just don't like that. That's just why like exclusivity is a bitch to this very end, because like you don't have people who are willing to actually spend that much money for a console. Now PlayStation and Xbox are going into PC because PC is probably the most accessible way to actually get into gaming nowadays, because you have Steam, literally. And also like PC have so many ways of like making really good if you have good service, you can have people to go into that really good service and pay for it, literally. Excuse me. Like wasn't there a quotation from Gabe, the CEO of Steam, the fact that the reason why piracy exists is because the service that was actually provided by the provider of the service was not really good, and if you don't actually excel that, you will have people go choose for piracy over the good service. And to this very day, Steam has actually perfected the whole idea of like services online and make the games accessible for other people when in their sales and everything. Whenever there's sales, people are actually look up to go into it. It's crazy the fact that is the thing. Piracy is not a pricing issue; it's a service issue. That is the quotation. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That is the quote. Yeah, 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 yeah. That is the quote. Very very good quote, and I think that's the same case for Nintendo, where like Nintendo Switch services are actually abysmal to this very day and age, where like people would actually choose piracy over the true service from the proper developers. And because like Ubisoft is the main thing as well. Ubisoft did a very bad job of like providing services, to the point where like they actually do not carry any games that were releasing by Ubisoft. Like like the Ubisoft subscription thing, it's abysmal, and the pricing for each game, where like the game are just mediocre, also very bad. That is very very bad. But thank you for telling me that, Lynn. That is a quotation that I will probably stand by for a very long time. Provide good service, you will have people pay it for you, literally.
Especially when you look around at many other companies, Sega, Capcom, Xbox, PlayStation, even some indie studios, and you see them amplifying creators, lifting
Mm-hmm.
them up, letting the fans be a part of the legacy. But Nintendo doesn't really do that. They continue to pull the plug again and again,
I do
and
not know
over time,
why.
I started wondering if maybe I had just been giving them the benefit of the doubt simply because I grew up loving them. So at this point, after the Gilfa Sunner takedown, I had already started to feel uneasy. The creator
I
takedown
wouldn't be surprised Nintendo would actually come for her after this video. I wouldn't be surprised. I think there will be a time where she will actually come up again, and then there will be a cease and desist for this video. And I don't know if that was the case, then I might be next. Holy shit.
downs, the
But yes, I will probably upload this video.
fan projects, the legacy content, it was all feeling a lot more controlling than caring. But The moment that truly stopped me in my tracks was when I heard the story of Gary Bowser. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't
What?
even know about any of this until I listened to an
Wait, wait, wait,
episode of Dark Side.
wait. This is the Gary browser that you talk about the legal slave, right? Lynn? Right? This is the Gary Bowser that you're talking about. We're gonna go into it anyways.
Diaries, which, by the way, Jack does an incredible job explaining all of this. I'll link
Keep
it in the
watching, okay.
description for you. Now, I obviously knew at this point Nintendo could be very protective of their IP, but this was on a whole other level. Gary was a part of a group called Team Executor, and what they did was build and sell mod chips, little pieces of hardware that you could install in your Nintendo consoles to run homebrew apps, custom firmware, and yes, pirated games. But people also used those mods for stuff that wasn't necessarily piracy. They used it to run backups of games they already owned, or just experiment with the system for their own personal use, things that were really never going to be available through Nintendo directly. Gary essentially became the fall guy for the entire organization, and Nintendo came down on him in a way that was very extreme. In 2020, Gary was arrested at gunpoint in the Dominican Republic and extradited to the US. By 2022, he'd been sentenced to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay $14.5 million in damages, $4.5 million in restitution, and then another $10 million from a civil suit. And after he got out early, he still owed all of it, and he started paying Nintendo back 25 to 30% of his monthly income, which at one point was just $25 a month from his prison library job. He'll basically be paying them for the rest of his life. When I heard that, my stomach dropped.
Oh god, that actually made me sick. So for the rest of his life, he is paying tax and percentage of the of his earning to Nintendo, aka legal slave. Fuck Nintendo. Oh god. For pirated, what? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit. Holy shit, that is insane. Damn. Who the fuck are who are these lawyers that are actually dealing with this, bro? Damn. That is insane.
I genuinely felt heartbroken for
Disgusting.
him. Yes,
Very
what
disgusting.
he and the rest of the team were doing was illegal, and they did profit off of it. But Gary was just one man. And are we really saying the punishment fits the crime here? Because what
No, it's not. $4.1 million for the guy who literally just literally make a backup files, and then you actually had to expect him the fact that he needs to actually make money for the rest of his life for your disgusting company. That's messed up. Yeah, that's messed up. That is very messed up. That is insanely disgusting behavior. Holy guacamole. Damn. I never knew about this. This was like 3 years ago too. So he was released and you still have to pay for it. What? So he went to the jail for 3 years, and then after 3 years, he still have to pay for that? And that is nuts actually on its own. And that's why? Why? This is too much of a gatekeeping. You know what Nintendo actually represents of right now? To make an example out of him, I kid you not, this is going to be a very Star Wars relevant, but Nintendo is just the empire. And Nintendo is the imperial of the universe. Literally. So other people would be discouraged from doing the same as him. I'm sorry, but that is a good thing to do. But at the same time, the way you're doing it is way too extreme, way too much. Going to a 3 years prison is already more than enough. But like going out, like after getting out of prison, and still have to pay for the company is crazy. That is nuts. That is nuts. You're the company who's supposed to just make games for people to just escape from real life problems. What the frick? Damn! But I guess that's also a point as well of reality when it comes to businesses to this point. Damn, bro. I'm gonna keep watching this.
Whatever legal lines were crossed, this felt less like justice and more like hatred and wrath. And not just for what he did, but for daring to even touch Nintendo's closed system. And the part that really got me with this is Nintendo tried to get Sony and Microsoft to back them up here, to join the
What?
lawsuit and make it a united front against piracy. Both companies said no. Both Sony and Xbox, billion-dollar publishers in
Base!
their own right, refused to be a part of it, even
Base! Base! So Nintendo shamelessly wanting to have PlayStation and also Xbox to actually be a part of it against piracy, brother. In the end of the day, the reason why PlayStation and Xbox did not actually pull up the straw of like making new consoles as dreadful as you, Nintendo, is because they have published the game on PC, making it accessible to everyone. What the hell are you talking about? What is this Nintendo smoking, bro? What? And now see, so you see, this is where like the funny thing is because Steam is literally apart with PlayStation and Nintendo to this very day because Steam has provided amazing service. Gabe, you are absolutely a genius. I don't know what he said, I don't know what he did. I just want to tell him that he's a genius. Oh god, what the hell?
they seem to think that it was too far. And again, I am not here to outright defend piracy, really. There's a whole
Me too. I don't think piracy is something that should be protected as well in many ways. But at the same time, the reason why people, but you also have to think in a different view. Why does piracy even happen to begin with? Like, why is piracy a thing? It's because piracy a thing is because for people who cannot afford the game in the end of the day. Some people cannot actually are willing to spend that much money for a game, much less for actually buying a PC part and actually willing to actually know to see like what kind of a performance they have in the game where they have to actually spend a minimum of 2 hours in the game to actually know if they like the game or not at the very least. And I think like there actually should be a trial for the game before you pay it, but I think that's also a very way too generous way of doing it. Steam already have that refund thingy going on, but at the same time, in the end of the day, people cannot actually afford in piracy. No, people who went into piracy cannot afford the game. So that's why they just went into it. So like, if you have a good service, people would just like, hey, you know what? Instead of like getting it for free, doing it for free, why not we just actually pay a little bit extra and actually be supportive? You know, because like, you have to understand, there's people who are willing to actually pay money despite knowing the fact there is piracy out there. Literally. Fun fact, Shaker, I remember it happened because the East Indian Company and Spanish Empire taxed a lot of imports and goods. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, actually?
conversation to be had about access, preservation, and ethics, but this felt
What
incredibly
what
close.
what, what does have anything to do with this? Similar today? Huh? I see, I see, I see, I see. I see, I see, I see, I see. Makes a lot of sense. That's a lot of things as well. That's why like, people are actually smuggling and actually stealing to this very day because you don't have a good service. Then I think, yeah, you have a point. Yeah. That's also another thing as well. But let's not. But that will be a little bit more different because that will be more involved of politics and also in economic, like more deep in dive in that one. I cannot just say for that. I'm more of a gaming thingy, so we'll stick with the gaming for now. But I guess you have a point there, Father. Hello there, Father. Welcome to the stream. Also, hello to Lin was taken. I'm sorry for not saying hello to you sooner.
And predatory. Nintendo did not just want to stop Gary from what he was doing, they wanted to make him an example. And for me, this was the defining moment when I knew Nintendo was no longer the company that I had loved for decades. And if you
Here's the thing. I get it. You want to make an example of a sample. Make an example out of someone, but the fact that you're a game company that are supposed to make games that are actually supposed to be like make an escapism, make things fun for the people to actually play the game. You're not the guy just make piracy. You're you're treating him as if like he is a rapist. You're treating him as if like he is a really a criminal, like he murdered 7 people or serial killer or he actually smuggled in some bad people into the country. It's not that. Why can't why can't we have that same treatment onto the people that we have in prison? Why? Like, he just got that treatment right off the bat just because he just pirated a game and put it into highware? I get it. 3 years is okay, but you have to pay $4.1 million for that? I can link a lot of things from history to the current situation of a games company now. Don't no, we don't need to go there. I like the history of like what exactly we're talking about here. History of like in gaming, or are we talking about in real life history or something? Like you're free to tell anything. Like I'm not stopping you or anything at all. You're free to do so because like I just don't. I've been knowing about Nintendo. I've been actually hearing about Nintendo slander going around left and right for a very long time now. But I just there's only a few big ones that really stick up to me. But for now, I'm actually gonna keep on continuing.
I thought Gary Bowser's case was just a one off or a legal overreach in a rare situation. It wasn't, because not long after that,
Uh huh.
Nintendo set its sights on something much bigger and arguably much more telling. You might have
Who?
already guessed it, but I'm talking about Power
Power
World.
World.
You
Okay,
probably
yeah.
remember when it blew
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
A
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
weird, chaotic blend of Pokemon style creature collecting and open world survival mechanics.
It was so good. It was very good. Parallel was really good game on its own. Really, with the mechanic where you can actually capture some of it, and you have guns in game, which is stupid but also very fun to actually play around. Open worldness and the survival mechanic in this game is just really good. Any historical events similar to the current events that to me it keeps repeating itself. We don't need to go there. No need. We don't need to go there. Honestly, we don't need to. It'll be a longer video. For now, we're just actually gonna chill out here and just like literally talk about this video. Um, because like I will make the video so much longer. I don't want to actually be that long already. I already have been yapping for way too long at this point. But jeez, Power is just good, bro. I feel sad because how much is Power right now actually? I want to know how much is Power. Damn, Power is not even. Damn, wait what? Wait, so power is not even $40, nor is it $30. It's only around $20? Wow! Damn!
Very
Damn, dude.
messy. It was wild, but it was so
That
much
is
fun. People were
insane.
very obsessed, myself included. And
I can
yes,
see
come
that.
on, it clearly was.
Even for me as well. I'm not a big of survival game. I enjoy playing Power World actually. Even though I don't like a survival element into it, I actually do enjoy the fact I can actually hunt and capture some of the pals. Okay, it was fun. It was adorable to have some of them. It was actually pretty nice to have them as a slave workers in my own camp. It's just fun and treating them with pure happiness. It was really good and exploring everything is just nice. I know, Sugar. That's why you need to pick a topic that you guys can relate, since half of you guys are younger than me. Well, yeah, but at the same time, like we're talking about Nintendo here, so like I don't really know if I need to actually I don't need to ask you to tell me to I don't need you to ask me like what kind of topic do I need to pick because we're talking about Nintendo here. Literally, like you can pick anything to actually surprise me, anything really. Like like make I don't know. You're making me thinking way too much right now. I miss Power World. I do too, actually. I'm not gonna lie. I do miss Power World as well. I miss my pals.
Was inspired by Pokemon. That's not a secret. You could throw a
It
spear, you
is.
could collect little pals, you ride them, you battle them. It was Pokemon adjacent, absolutely. But here's the thing. It wasn't a copy. The characters were different. The art direction, tone, many
Yeah.
mechanics were different. It took a
Even if it's a copy, that wouldn't be a problem as well because in the end of the day, people since to this very day are copying arts no matter what and actually improve them. Pokemon is just inspirational. That's it. people love it and they actually wanted to actually make their own. You inspire other people to actually make more different types of animals that have that in their own mind. Why not? I miss my blue dinosaur, me too! Yeah, Nintendo keeps fucking us. Of course they keep fucking us because they can actually get away with it because they can actually pull you in the rug of nostalgia bait. Literally. Also, they patent writing animals now. What do you mean patent? What does that mean? Without foreplay too, incredibly stupid.
very familiar genre and gave it a bold, slightly unhinged twist. And for the first time in
Hmm.
years, fans were saying, why doesn't Nintendo try stuff like this? Instead
Yeah,
of
I agree. Why can't Pokemon be like this? What is patent? Oh wait, what? Wait, hold on. What do you mean by patent? What do you mean by patent though? What does that mean?
taking that feedback in stride, instead of rising to the challenge, listening, learning,
Mm-hmm.
evolving, Nintendo did what they've been doing for a while now.
This
They
suit.
sued. Together
Yes.
with the Pokemon Company, they filed a patent infringement lawsuit against the Pal World.
So 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 this is a point where it was very beyond stupid for me. It was a moment where like, yep, I was right here saying like Nintendo, you're a stupid company. But now after this, I went up here. Nintendo, you are absolutely the wildest company and the most stupidest company I've ever seen. Literally. Because you literally sued a gaming mechanic in game because you think they actually copy it. Brother in shithole, do you think Pokemon is the first thing that ever is going to be like a Pokemon thing to begin with? Like, is it damn to create the first thing ever? Sure, the reason why Pokemon is even a thing is because people can own pets from the very beginning. Okay? And I'll say that because that will be the main inspirational point of why Pokemon is actually even a thing. It's because people like us can actually have cats and dogs, alright, as pets. And now like you want to actually own that idea for yourself with the Pokeball? Huh?
Dev team, not over character
I love how the fact that Nintendo loves sucking on their own cock so good to the point that they were not willing to actually share it to everyone else. I hated it and it actually pissed me off. I kid you not. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. You're kidding me. Again, they sued it. They sued Power for a Pokeball throwing mechanic. It is nuts. Wait, patent means they own the concept now? Wait, what? Riding animals now? Wait, so you're telling me gliding using a pal is their patent also? Huh? Now you can spread the word as well? Even Pokemon copied others? Wait. So hold on. So you're telling me Pokemon just arrogantly just said that they actually own animal riding and gliding. Is that what they're trying to say? Damn. Damn. That is the most gliding and riding they own it. Damn. When are they gonna actually sue the Elder Ring for that? When are they gonna actually do that? When are they gonna sue Elder Ring for us to actually ride on Torrent? Torrent is technically a Pokemon because it's not technically an animal because it's actually a mixture of goat and also a horse. It is an animal, but it's a very weird breed. Why not? Why not? Here's the thing. Nintendo is actually a very big company. I get it. But when they see a game like Power World using like similar formula and make things better than their own Pokemon games, and they see millions and money are going into this company, they are willing to say, "Hey, we kind of want some of that now for ourselves because we kind of own the idea, Literally, they are absolutely the king of arrogant capitalism. Literally. I'm gonna claim the patent of making patents! Pay me Nintendo, that is insane! You know what? Since you created gravity in game, why won't you actually have to pay to to Newton's law himself because he was the one who created gravity right from the very beginning. Why not do that? That is the most stupidest thing analogy that I have actually come up with. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I think I didn't actually read some of that. Pokemon isn't even the first game with the creature capturing as a mechanic. Brother, the reason why Pokemon is a thing is because they literally took it the fact that people are actually owning pets to a much more further idea. That's it. Now you can see, you see Nintendo has a very many pattern. They have countless pattern, but they also only suit them when they know they can win. That is also true as well. Apollo is a small company. Becoming a competitor, of course, they are gonna burn their own money to stomp the little guy. I agree as well. And also, what's even sadder is the fact that this company is literally stuck in Japan. And Japan has a very strict law when it comes to like entertainment laws, which is very very bad. You can't actually, they can't even say anything. Power can't even actually say anything to Nintendo at all because defaming a big company is a crime. Literally, they have filed a lot of patents now. Oh god, I say this again. I will say that again. Um, Nintendo has become very arrogant to this very day. Literally, discover gravity, not invented. Nintendo has a seat on Japanese board. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What? They have a seat in Japanese board? The official one? Why? Why? Whatever. Well, let's actually finish this video. This is actually insane.
design,
Well, we'll
surprisingly.
get into
Not
that
even over
later.
branding, but
Well, we'll
over
get into that later. I want to actually keep on actually watching this video first.
mechanics. Things like throwing a pal spear to catch creatures, using
Exactly.
them in combat, riding them across the world. And because of all of
Oh,
this, the Palo
okay.
team had to actually go in and change all of those features. They stripped out mechanics that players loved, not because they were unethical, but because they simply couldn't defend themselves against a legal juggernaut. And just
Literally. It's literally a bully. This is a bully move that you'd hate to see. And the reason why they can do that is because Japan does not have like a persecuting law about this whole entire thing. They can literally just hitting and punching them in the face whenever they want. Literally, Nintendo is a big bully here.
like with the Gary Bowser case, Nintendo tried to bring other companies into the fight. Sony and Microsoft were reportedly approached to back them again here, and again, they declined. They did not want to be a part of it.
Damn!
And all of this says a lot because this could have been a big
Again?
moment for Nintendo, a wake-up call, an opportunity for them to ask, what is it that people are responding to? Why are they so excited about this? What can we learn from this? But instead of innovation, they chose litigation. And to me, it was not a stand for creativity or IP protection. The Pokemon formula has been around for literally 30 years. We all know what it is and where it comes from.
And the fact that you still want to own it and actually make it for your own self is crazy for 30 years. Sweetheart, the reason why it's even a thing is because people are actually making really, really good job of like making a relatability to this very day. The fact that Pokemon is still a thing. I kind of wish Pokemon was dead. I will say this to this very end. I will never understand why Pokemon games are actually really good to this very day. I do not care because I will say it to this very day. Pokemon games nowadays are actually suck. They are fucking abysmal. Pokemon Go was unique though. It was very unique.
Our world was not going to change that. No. This was Nintendo being a bully and swinging at anything
Exactly.
that threatened the comfort of their complacency. They had an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to take advantage of someone already laying the groundwork for them, but instead, they chose violence. And after everything, the creator takedowns, the lawsuits, the silencing of innovation, you think maybe Nintendo would at least try to get one thing right: their legacy. I remember when Nintendo Online
Their legacy? Oh god. Online subscription. We're gonna talk about this. I won't be surprised if they patent the turn-based combat. Excuse me. This is where like I'm gonna actually be very scared about something. From Software is included in making a game from Nintendo. And I'm very scared about this is the fact that they're probably gonna make From Software to be a. I'm scared they're going to actually make From Software where like make a Souls like is their own patent at this point, and I'm very scared of that actually. Very scared because of Dust Blood is actually going to be Nintendo exclusive. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that idea. With all my heart, I really do not like it. Like, I wouldn't mind From Software making another exclusive game with Xbox or PlayStation, but not with Nintendo. Nintendo is just not a really good company for me.
Line was first announced. It sounded like such a win, a way to legally revisit classic titles, play old favorites, dive back into the library that built up this brand. And at first, I was so hopeful. But the reality has been frustrating at best.
Mm-hmm.
Games get added randomly. Some months it's not much. Other months, it's one obscure NES title no one really asked for. Entire consoles like Game Boy Advance or N64 still feel incomplete, and sometimes titles will just disappear without warning or explanation. They're just gone. And now, with the launch of the Switch 2, I thought maybe they would.
The reason why it's gone is because they want to actually put it back in so they can actually pay them again to a different console.
Try to clean things up a bit. GameCube has finally joined the retro lineup, which is very awesome, but they only added 3 games at launch.
What? What? Only 3 games? You kidding me?
Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. Like, yeah, that's a cool trio, I guess, but it's also pretty bare bones for a console with so many legendary titles. And yes, I know more are coming, but why launch with so few? Why not take the easy win here and give your fans what they've been begging you for?
They're just because they want to actually make you pay another $60 for a bundle, or $80 for a bundle. Literally, probably they could go for another $100 for that. Literally, if you want to go physical.
For years. Beyond the catalog, the performance isn't always there either. Sometimes there's lag, some games have awkward control schemes, others don't support cloud saves. It doesn't really feel like a premium service. It feels like something Nintendo begrudgingly maintains, and definitely not something that they can be proud of. The thing is I've always wanted to support something like this. I actually am very happy to pay to play these games legally. I want to revisit the titles that shaped me in a clean, easy way, but Nintendo has made it so hard. It's like they're sitting on this treasure trove of nostalgia, this very beautiful, powerful legacy, and instead of sharing it or celebrating it with us, they keep it to themselves and withhold it. They kind of hold it over us like drugs, honestly, banking on the fact that we'll continue to play the part of the willing addicts who will be so happy for even the tiniest drop. It really is heartbreaking, but
It is very heartbreaking, but the thing is that like in the end of the day, it still works to this very day. People are still getting into Nintendo games to this very day because they still like Mario and Yoshi and everything else. But in the end of the day, you gotta understand, it's way too abysmal, way too expensive. Also, there's a suit the size that let you download abandoned software of their old games. What the fuck? Why? The- Did they even want to actually play the games at this point or not? I'm totally convinced Nintendo does not like their own games.
at this
What the
point, I'm
frick?
not even really mad about it. I'm just
Tired.
tired and
Yeah.
maybe still a little bit sad. Now, again, to be clear, this video is not meant to shame anybody. If you bought the Switch 2 or you're a part of Nintendo Online and you're loving it, I think that's great, truly.
That's okay, but at the same time, I still feel like it's a waste of money in the end of the day for me. For me, it's not for you. This is the thing. If you have the money, awesome. That's okay for you. I'm happy for you. But I just don't have the money to actually spend $80 for a digital, and if I want a physical, I have to pay $90, and that physical is not technically a physical. It's just a key, which is sucks.
I am not here to steal joy away from anyone. This video really is just to talk about how I can't ignore how much my own relationship with Nintendo has changed over the years. And I don't love them anymore. Not the company, not like I used to. And that's difficult to say out loud because I grew up on these games. I spent summers chasing stars in Mario 64, winters decorating my Animal Crossing home, racing my siblings in Mario Kart, riding Epona across Hyrule Field like it was the most
Jeez.
magical thing in the world. And for me, these were not just games. They were a part of my childhood. And that's why all of this hurts so much, because the company that once led with a full heart and love for gaming feels like it's running on autopilot, giving us the absolute bare minimum. Comfortable, safe, lazy, greedy. We're getting less and paying more. And look, the industry as a whole is a bit of a mess right now, but
I can
it's
agree on
still
that.
fair for us to ask for better, to feel valued as customers, to want these companies to care. And for a long time, I really believed that Nintendo did, that they were different, that they stood for something. But now it's hard to see how that could still be true. I always joke that my relationship with Nintendo is super toxic because even after all of this, even after how I've seen how they treat their consumers and fans, part of me still hopes that they'll change because they could. It really would be
Hmm.
so easy. If they wanted to, they could be the company that supports creators instead of silencing them, shares their
Hmm.
legacy instead of locking it away, prioritizes joy over control, and
They want to make
evolves
more money.
instead of punishing innovation. I really would love nothing more than to fall back in love with them. But right now, it just seems like Nintendo is going to keep being Nintendo, just very
Hmm.
stuck and too happy to stay that way. The
Kick of
love that I
capitalism, by the
once
way.
had for them was
True
so real
capitalism,
and the
I would say.
magic really mattered. But the company behind that magic, it feels further away than ever. If you made it to the end of this video, seriously, thank you so much. And I would love to hear your story. What made you fall in love with Nintendo? Are you still in love with them? Or have you also had a bit of a breakup with them like me? Let me know in the comments.
Hmm.
And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Awesome video actually. I like the video a lot more than I thought. I'm not gonna lie. I'll give this like I'll give the like to this girl actually. Honestly, I was never actually a Nintendo enjoyer from the very beginning. I never liked Nintendo games because they look very mediocre for me. But as a kid, I do like playing Mario games. The older one, the first Mario games that where you actually like the pixel art one. I like that one a lot. I do enjoy that. And honestly, to you, it's kind of a bit sad now that Nintendo games are actually more focused on making money instead of like making games. Where like game like it's like similar to Disney, where like they focus on how to grab money for a wider audience instead of like making creative decision for the movies. You know? Can I link a short shaker? Go ahead, but in a minute. I'll tell you in a minute. It might make you laugh in a minute. Because like I want to talk more about this as well because like it's insane the fact that like later send it in the server, send it in the server. Because the thing is that like the server I feel like Nintendo is actually like I'm surprised she doesn't actually talk about like that one moment with Nintendo. Wait, I forgot about it. The how Nintendo Switch 2, like you can't really modify anything at all, and then if you modify a little bit and you'll actually deactivate it literally immediately, and you have to pay extra to actually activate back again, which is weird because like I don't get it. Why would you do that? Because like it's just fans actually owning their own consoles and trying to make it better for themselves. So I don't get it. Why? Because like you're already paying a $420 for a console. And that's way too expensive too. Very expensive. Way too expensive. So like one, it's very discouraging for people to actually even play or own a console. But in the end of the day, the console is actually being sold. It's been sold for a very long time now. It's literally been like it got sold out. It literally got sold out. It was on the pre-orders. Where did I put it, Shaker? The link. The reaction live streaming something. The reaction live streams, that one. But yeah, I think I would recommend everyone to actually go ahead and actually like her video if you can. I'll put up the link